What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Free Range 6M podcast. We got a Super Bowl weekend going on. We got Dad and we got a good friend, Ian Hayes, here to join us, talk about just some football and shit. So
yeah,
we got we're here in KC Speakeasy. This is where we'll be watching Super Bowl 58. We got Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Taylor Swift,
Travis Kelce,
Pacheco, Fred Warner,
Chris Jones,
our good friend Charvarius Ward.
Yeah,
should be a great matchup. So outside of the quarterback matchup, what matchup are you guys looking at?
I like that Snead Debo. Snead gonna cover Debo, and then Drew Tranquil on McCaffrey. Is he gonna shadow him?
Yeah. Well, so we got Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, Tranquil.
And then Chanel will be in there for a run.
Yeah, I'm excited about the Chiefs' defense, and I think it's going to be a good defensive matchup.
Yeah.
I kind of bet it low because the D lines are both good. And when you have good D lines, they slow everything down. All that run and gun, So I appreciate the defensive matchup.
Yeah.
I think we have an advantage just because our secondary and our second and third layers, they're strong.
Yeah.
I mean, our defense is really stout.
I know.
Yeah, our defense isn't just good. It seems like they have like that willpower. Like when you need them, they're there.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of good defenses. There's a lot of good teams out there. But, you got like the Cowboys who's, scored probably the most points in the last 2 seasons as a defense, but they just can't.
Yeah.
They're just not there when you need them.
They're not. They're not.
And
that was a big meltdown.
I feel like the Chiefs have that. They've shown that through the playoffs. Like maybe when the offense isn't stepping up like it needs to be, like the defense is there. And it don't matter. Like we can score no points in the second half and be good.
And it seems like the first and second quarter, our defense sort of gives up some things, gives up most of the points that they average. And then the second half, they just shut him down.
Spags figures it out.
He makes adjustments.
Yeah, I know.
If I was Shanahan, I'd have a first half strategy and a second half strategy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Spags, how many rings does he have? 4? 4
Yeah, because
rings?
the Giants, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just going to be his
three,
fourth
three
or his
four.
fifth.
3 or 4.
This is either his fourth
because
or fifth.
the Giants and the same thing, defenses.
Yeah.
So
I don't think there's ever been a coordinator had that many, right?
Just the
I think
coordinator.
he tied somebody the other day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That'd be a good stat to look up.
Yeah.
The coordinators with the most rings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's some coordinators that kind of, I know the New England coordinators wouldn't qualify because they get poached.
Yeah.
It seems like most good coordinators get poached.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of talk, I think maybe it was early this season or maybe in the off season that Matt Nagy's like kind of being trained to be our next head coach. Would you rather have Matt Nagy or Spags?
Well, Spags tried it.
He's been for the Rams. I mean, the Rams fucking shit.
They all get it. They all get a try.
I don't know. And Nagy's he bombed too.
It's not like you have a shit quarterback. It'd be like that Belichick Brady thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Defensive guy with a quarterback he can trust. And just get you a good badass offensive coordinator. And
Yeah. Well, would you try them or give Bieniemy a shot?
That's maybe what's happening, right? I kind of see the rumblings. That's what a lot of the fans out there are like. Maybe this is a way for him to come back. And
I mean, if you kept the coaching staff in place and you brought Bieniemy back as head coach, I wonder about that.
Yeah, a lot of those mistakes you see throughout the season, like a lot of fans were pointing out, like that shit wouldn't fly if Bieniemy. If it did happen, it wouldn't happen the next week.
It ain't coincidence that he leaves, and then they have all these penalties and drop passes, and the offense just didn't look good.
Yeah, they definitely held you accountable in Kansas City.
So what other matchups are we looking at? I like that. Whoever Charvarius Ward is covering, I think the media asked him the other day, what's it like being in San Francisco versus Kansas City, and he said it's better.
I saw that.
It's like, all right, motherfucker, You know,
Yeah,
He said
they're a
it's
strong
better.
franchise,
Yeah.
right? So I get that. Yeah,
They have, they have a good history.
Yeah.
Just as strong, if not stronger, than Kansas City.
I'm sure he has a great time walking around the streets of San Francisco. I'm sure it's just fucking great. It smells like shit. Sure, it's a great time.
That city's been devastated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the quarterback matchup: Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with Brock Purdy.
I mean,
it's a good
do you
story.
buy the whole good quarterback versus manager debate with Brock Purdy?
I don't know. I read something Warren Moon was talking about. Well, all quarterbacks are managers. They've got a game plan, and quarterbacks manage the game plan.
Yeah.
So it depends.
Yeah, it's just kind of the situation he's in right now.
Yeah.
I just been getting a lot of my feeds have come up with that I watched it once, so the Cam Newton criticism of Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 10,
and they
10
even
guys better.
yesterday they kind of put him directly, you know, do you believe in Brock Purdy? Yes or no? And he's like, I believe in his supporting staff. So he just kind of doubled down on it. So I was like, had me thinking like, I don't know.
Well, this is the way I
not
was
wrong.
thinking about it. Lamar Jackson is the most elite athletic quarterback in the league, right?
That we've ever seen.
And we've ever seen, probably, right? Maybe Randall Cunningham back in his day, but
Yeah.
they shut him down. They pressured him the whole game.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Brock Purdy can take that much pressure. He's not able to get out of the backfield like other quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they have
Now he gets rid of the ball fast.
Yeah, that's
but,
it. If
That's
he
what they're
doesn't
gonna
try
have
to
to
move,
do.
But
yeah.
our secondary that's good.
young
Real
and
good.
Yeah, they're really
fast
good,
and- yeah.
That
young
makes a
and
big
fast.
difference. Andy's good at that. That's what I mean. A good player personnel type coach that's good at almost seeing talent, recruiting it, filling gaps, because they did a lot of that in other places where they win a lot.
Yeah.
They just fill it with another one.
Yeah.
All those dynasties did that. They just fill the next guy. You'd step up and be like, "Who's this
Yeah, players you would
badass
never even think of.
safety?
Yeah.
Why do they have a great secondary again?"
Yeah.
Yeah, two new guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Well,
who's this
Amenahu's not
Joshua
going to be
Williams?
playing, right?
Huh?
Amenahu's not playing, right?
Yeah, he tore his ACL.
Yeah. And Trent Williams is on that side. I mean, it probably doesn't matter who you put over there. It's going to be a long day for that
Yeah.
player. But
Yeah.
Probably see a lot of blitz
yeah.
from the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Reed came through big on the last game. I think he's going to have another big game.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most underrated signings that the Chiefs have, because he's a pretty good he's a good leader. You
Yeah,
can
he
tell.
is.
You know, he speaks,
Yep.
plays hard. He's
He's got a well-rounded
he's not
game.
afraid of anything. Like that's a great signing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have never expected the defense to play how they played this season. Usually it's, you know, through the regular season it's kind of just that bend don't break, and then they break all the time.
Yeah.
And then like halfway through the season it's like, all right, I'm seeing signs, and then the playoffs they're like locked down.
Right.
This season it's just they're just ready
Best
to go.
defense we've seen since Marty's days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good defenses.
Yeah. That's going to be fun.
So what about the tight ends? Who has a better game, Kittle or Kelsey?
Yeah, that's pretty equal matchup, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty equal
Just
to me.
depends on who gets the ball more.
Yeah. And the scheme and if they're open, because they're gonna, if they're open, it's gonna be a big play. Both of them, you give it to them with grass in front of them, that's gonna be a huge play. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think both teams will be ready for that too.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it'll be a big offensive explosion there. They know that, I think. So that's just me betting. I mean, it could turn out the other way, but I just think that.
What about Pacheco or McCaffrey? Who has a bigger game?
another
Who
good
has a
one.
bigger impact?
That's another good one.
That
I
could
think-
go.
I like the way they utilize Pacheco going right up the gut, punching him in the mouth. I do like that. McCaffrey can do that, but that's not his strength. But I like that about Pacheco. He'll bust a big play when you least expect it. So I think Pacheco will end up having kind of like a big third down conversion where everybody goes nuts in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That'll be the difference.
I just like our linebacking core against a running game and backs out of the catching the ball out of the backfield better than San Francisco's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the past we've had the past couple of years, we've had Gay and Bolton and Chanel, but in the past we've had like older linebackers.
Yeah.
Like who was the guy at the first Super Bowl? We had a linebacker we got from the Cowboys. What was that guy's name?
Oh yeah.
And he was older. He was slow, but he was smart.
Yeah, smart. Yeah,
and
I
then
like that about linebackers.
We had another linebacker, a white guy that just couldn't fuck keep up.
Yeah.
And then we had players like Daniel Sorensen that just couldn't keep up. Yeah. And this season, it's those linebackers are young.
I actually have
fast.
a hard time following the Chiefs. They do change linebackers so much, and that's one position where if you lose a step, you're crucial. Yeah. You'll give up giant plays. So linebackers are kind of running backish. Time to go.
Yeah. Now we've had these guys, except Tranquil we added this year, right? But we had the Bolton and Gay for 3 or 4 years now.
I think this is Bolton's. This is Bolton's second year.
No, this would be his
third,
I think.
Third year maybe.
Yeah. Check it out. Yeah.
He's a beast.
He's a monster.
Yeah.
Yep. So predictions. What predictions do we have for what's the score when it's all said and done?
Well, I think the under's 47.5, and I'm, as you could tell, I know nothing about this, but and I went with the under.
Okay.
So
I'm not big on sports betting.
Yeah, but, teens to 20-ish kind of thing, 20-ish to 20-ish.
I think most predictions I've seen is in that 20 to 24.
Yeah.
One way or the other. So, So that 40 to 44 total.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's either it's either going to be like a good Chiefs defensive game, kind of like the AFC Championship game. Maybe nobody scores over 20.
Yeah,
and the Chiefs score 20.
Yeah,
but if not, I think the Chiefs got to put up 31 points. If it's not that type of game, the Chiefs offense is going to have to step up.
Going to have to show up.
They're going to have to play through the whole game. Put points on the board.
Yep. Well, I was reading too. Mahomes, 49ers generally play zone defense, and Mahomes doesn't play as well against zone, but just by the stats.
Yeah.
Kelsey does.
Yeah,
Kelsey does.
Kelsey will find that open spot in the zone.
Yeah,
he does every time.
Yeah. Hopefully that happens.
Yeah.
I'd expect Rice to have, maybe he doesn't have a massive game, but he'll bust out with those plays that make the difference. Maybe he catches a 5-yard pass and runs it for 60 yards for a touchdown. That type of just a couple game changing plays is what I expect from Rashee Rice.
And I wouldn't be shocked if Clyde has 3 or 4 big plays that are
Clyde Edwards. Comes out of nowhere.
Key plays. Out of the backfield.
That'd be good for him.
Yeah. He's been subtly solid through the whole season.
Yeah.
I think he's hurt last season. Didn't play in the Super Bowl. Lost his starting job. But I think since the start, anytime they've needed him, I think Pacheco maybe missed a game or two, but Clyde was there with when they did give him the ball. He ate up some yards. So
yeah.
Well, he's really good out of the backfield catching the ball.
He is.
That too.
He is. That's his thing.
Yeah.
So we got Mahomes in his 4th Super Bowl. 4th? Is this?
Yeah.
And he's had 2 wins.
2 and 1.
2
this
and
will be
lost
for
1.
3, yeah.
4 Super Bowls and 6 seasons.
I saw a stat that he's entering sports in general royalty.
Yeah.
Because there were only, I think, maybe 6 to 8 guys in their first 8 seasons that won 2 MVPs and 3 championships. Right. And it was Larry Bird, Bill Russell, Guy Lafleur with the Montreal Canadiens, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, and one other. But Patrick Mahomes there's been no football player that's done it.
Yeah.
So he would be. That was kind of my hate is slowly eroding away. I don't have an excuse. If you really love greatness, you have to love it. And I am. I'm starting to, dare I say, become a fan. And everybody that knows me would be, what?
It's crazy to see. It's crazy to see on no matter what team he'd be playing for if he didn't get drafted to the Chiefs. But I think Chiefs fans and the city of Kansas City has watched enough shitty football to where this feels so good, and it's just
you're on to something there.
I think at this point in the Super Bowl, of course we want to win, I think at this point for Kansas City fans, it's just enjoying this time period. Because I mean, how hard is it going to be to find another Mahomes?
Exactly. That's I think you're onto something, because if he did go on any other team, like, they would know what they have. I heard the guy on ESPN was talking about. He said he used to play for Andy, and he was his in the front office when Andy was at Philly. And I think any coach knows what they have. He was like, Andy was so excited because he knew what he had when nobody else knew before, when Alex Smith was playing. So I think that every smart, responsible coach would put the pieces around him, and they'd be winning. So if he were at Baltimore or St. Louis Rams, I'm only 30, I swear. But if he were anywhere, I think they'd put the personnel around him, and they'd be chugging along just like the Chiefs. Yeah. So Chiefs are fortunate.
They are.
It's good. Yeah. It has to happen eventually. It'll happen in Dallas one day too, I think. Again,
I think the key too has been Reed letting Mahomes be Mahomes.
From
the beginning. Not trying to tighten him up, do things that's not natural for him.
Keep doing all your crazy motions and passes, and we'll work around you.
It'd be interesting if this was his rookie year, given the offense struggles, and he's had to be more of a sort of game manager than previous years, and dink and dunk, and if this was his rookie year, would it be the same outcome? Because in his first years,
legacy.
In the first years, he had really good players, like you said,
really good team,
really good team.
Because they went far with the same team with Alex Smith. And there's been a lot of teams in that situation where you already have the team, you're just waiting for the guy that can put it all together. San Francisco, similar. They had the team, and they'd get there with Jimmy G and Colin Kaepernick, different quarterbacks. Then they get the one that's like, okay, maybe this one's the one.
Well, I definitely, that first year, Mahomes with the 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. That, I think the defense was really bad that year.
Sure.
Bob Sutton, that dude was fucking terrible. I mean, you even had we would have went to the Super Bowl if it wasn't for D Ford. D Ford lined off 2 inches off sides, and Brady went down and scored a touchdown on us.
That was crazy. That was so disappointing.
He would have had another Super. We were good that year. The offense was just
there. You think they were explosive enough to just power through everybody?
That offense was nuts.
Yeah, it was. That would be interesting. Will they play Kadarius Toney tomorrow?
Is he hurt? Is that the guy who's been saying I'm not hurt?
He's not hurt, but
and then I think Bart Scott said Andy Reid's like, sit your ass down.
He was practicing this week.
Was he?
Yeah. He was back in practice. It'll be. I guess we'll see how much he actually plays, but typically Andy Reid don't treat those types of players, like babies or nothing.
He's obviously in the doghouse.
I mean, I don't know what he's bitching about. If you caught the ball, nobody'd be bitching.
Yes.
Well, on that play, when he lined up offsides, if he wouldn't have done that, Travis Kelce would have had another 1,000-yard season.
I didn't know that.
He took that away from Travis Kelce.
Well, and that would have been a play they would show.
If you
20
know it,
years
they know
from
it.
Now. We'd be seeing that play 20 years from now in NFL highlights, if not for him being offsides.
That was the craziest shit.
I know, and he was so glaringly offsides too. There wasn't any kind of.
He was celebrating too. He thought he had it in the bag. Tony, he's a fucking dumbass.
He's kind of a strange guy.
He won't.
It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to talk bad about people, but he clearly acts like an idiot. All offseason, he's talking shit to Giants fans, and just calling girls ugly because they were talking shit on him, and it's just like, dude. I mean, it'd be one thing if he came out and did what he did last year. But he probably dropped more passes than he caught.
For sure.
Realistically,
which has been his problem his whole career.
He's hurt, and he probably loved those girls too. By the way, at one point, now they're ugly. Those same girls. That's typical.
So let's what is your? Let's go top 2 Chiefs players of all time. Dad, you can start.
Wow. Well, it'd have to be Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody's got to have Mahomes on their list. Well, let's do Mahomes not allowed.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. 2 beside, because that just
you have to go with players like Otis Taylor back in the day.
Did you get to see Otis Taylor play?
No.
Yeah. Because they had some good guys that.
I'm 32.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm going with my dad told me that he was really good.
Yeah.
Bobby Bell.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're Hall of Famers. I wonder how good Bobby Bell was. I mean,
they say Bobby Bell was like one of the greatest NFL players of all time.
Right.
Like,
and then you got to think they didn't pass the ball that much, and they still put up those numbers and impress people.
Yeah.
They probably passed 30% of the time back then. Yeah.
Well, I would have to say this is not a sexy pick, but Shields.
Will Shields.
Shields, offensive lineman. I mean,
forget about those guys. They were just stacked.
Yeah. And then in that period, that was the best one of the best offensive lines we've ever seen.
They said ever. Yeah.
Priest Holmes running behind them.
Yeah.
Casey Wigman. Was that his name?
Yeah, Wigman.
You had Willie Roaf, Will Shields.
Yeah, who was the center? Wigman was the center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who was the left guard? Oh, the guy went to the Patriots. What was his name?
Shields.
The left guard. Anyway, and then the right tackle was I can't remember, but solid offensive line. I mean, they were just running over people.
Yeah, I mean, you had Priest Holmes running behind them, and Trent Green throwing the ball, and it was
Will Shields
good
offense. I mean, he was a perennial Pro Bowler and Hall of Famer, and then Otis Taylor. Those would have to be my 2. I've seen highlights of Otis Taylor, and he was solid.
Yeah, I'd have to. I'll say Eric Berry. I think his career got cut short. Due to the leukemia? Yeah. Eric Berry was a fucking monster. Even in college, you see the play with him colliding with Tim Tebow back in the day, and you see the plays he was able to make. And Chiefs weren't always a great team, but he made some great plays, and he was feared on the field.
Yeah.
Outside of that, Jamal Charles, I think he still has the most all-time yards per carry. Yeah. I think he's above Jim Brown in that stat.
He was for a while. I remember seeing that. Yeah.
I don't know if he still is or not, but he was. I think it would be great to have Jamal Charles on this Chiefs team.
Oh yeah.
That'd be crazy.
I'll tell you how good Jim Brown was at that record still endures. Like almost 6 yards a carry, 5.8 or something ridiculous.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
That's a crazy stat.
That is a crazy stat. Every time you give him the ball, he's almost got a first down. He's halfway there every time. That's crazy.
That's hard to do.
Yeah.
I mean, as hard as Pacheco runs, I wouldn't. His yard per carry average is probably half that.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you got 1 yard one play, the next play you got 11.
Yeah.
Generally, that's how it went down, or 5. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that offensive line was Willie Roaf, Brian Waters.
Brian Waters.
That's the guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Will Shields and John Welburn.
Yeah, who was the other one?
John Welburn.
Well, and then to extend it, you had the what was his name? Dunn.
Oh yeah,
Tony.
Was it Tony Dunn, the tight end?
Dunn. Something done, but he was just a big dude.
He was, huge.
We didn't throw him the ball. He wasn't no Travis Kelce, George Kittle, but he was a big dude. And
he was like an offensive tackle or something.
And then you had Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah,
so that great, just a great offense in those times.
It was
the Eddie Kinnison and Dante Hall and
Spider-Man.
Some good players.
What was
Spider-Man?
Yeah, wasn't he during that era? Our wide receiver. What was his? He came from Atlanta.
Rising?
Yeah.
Rising.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And who's that other guy they had? He was good. He was a corner. He actually very controversial. They found with like weed. He was from Tennessee. He was really good. He would get in trouble a lot.
Yes, he was. And he was
good.
Talent.
Very talented.
What was his name?
not Warwick, but something around that kind of name. God and everybody out there is going to be screaming his name, but really good. You guys, I can tell. Yeah, he was like a corner. And him and Champ Bailey would kind of go at it. Yeah, because at Denver.
Corner.
Yeah, he was good.
We had Ty Law for a minute, but wasn't.
That's after New England was like, see ya.
We drafted him. He was really good.
Yeah,
he was really good. Dexter McCleon guy?
Yeah.
He wasn't. That dude couldn't tackle for shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Cornerback.
Yeah, he was.
He was awesome.
He could.
Brandon
I think
Flowers.
He had a party life.
Yeah.
Brandon Flowers was a little later than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got busted with weed back when you couldn't get busted with weed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good. But I don't know. So my players, Derek Thomas, he was. That was probably
We're playing in Super Bowl 58 this year. We better win it for Derek Thomas.
Yeah, that dude was nightmare.
I mean, if I had 5, he would be one of the 5.
Yeah,
right? All time.
Jeez,
I think he actually just got named the greatest player in Alabama football history.
Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah.
By
the fans.
Monster.
Yeah.
I remember listening on the radio with my dad when he had those 7 sacks against Seattle.
Oh yeah,
7 in a game.
Yeah,
just kept doing it. Yeah. It was
That's
nuts
crazy.
to listen to. It was almost like it kept happening. So it's like, this is unreal. Like, what am I listening to again?
Yeah.
No, they got to be kidding. You know.
I think it's still league record, right?
Yeah, it
I
is.
think so.
It's been
Yeah, it was
for
like 7 against Seattle.
years.
Dave Craig was a quarterback. I never forget.
Craig, and then Dave Craig came to the Chiefs.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He's like, the hell with that. I'm going to go play for the Chiefs.
We were on
That's
our way home
another
from
crazy
church.
stat.
Yeah, I'm sick of this shit. Yeah,
That's another crazy
because
stat.
Seattle was in the AFC West.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. So he had to play him twice fucking year.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Derek Thomas, and then I'm trying to think of maybe like those guys that Mahomes, Derek Thomas, and I like Okoye too. Just that era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really like him. He was so dominant.
He was.
Yeah, he's just a fan favorite too.
Yeah.
That's a big dude.
Yeah,
Nigerian
massive.
Nightmare, just
Still
plowing
big.
through.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that kind of
The big hit.
Yeah, the big
Atwater. Atwater with Denver.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing around.
No.
And Atwater is one of those safeties that didn't love it. That's what you guys missed. You didn't get to see that.
No.
It was just, it was that kind of hit all the time. All the time. That was happening every game.
Yeah.
With everybody had a head hunting safety.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings had that one guy, Rod. There were like 2 Rod Woodsons. It was weird. These guys had the same name, Rod, and then the Steelers had their Rod. But everybody had a head hunting safety.
Yeah.
Just
fearless. I think my life has been just the whole transition of the NFL to a safer game. So I watched the Ray Lewis and the Terrell Suggs and that that Ravens style defense and the and then even the Broncos here recently, that Broncos team that played against Cam Newton in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the game's softened up, it seems like, and you can't really tell if it's made it better or worse or more exciting or just easier for the offense. But
yeah,
I think the NFL has done a much better job than like a MLB that's just made the game completely fucking boring, and the NBA is hard to watch because there's just so many games and
so many
NFL
turnovers.
And their marketing is
so
top
many
tier.
lack of fundamentals. Don't get me started.
The NFL has kept their brand and their game intact for the most part, even as much as we complain about being soft on the quarterbacks and
we still watch
the throwing flags for taunting penalties and not letting guys kind of just fight it out here and there. I think the NFL is probably the best American brand company of all time.
Yeah. That's safe to say.
I mean, they did that woke thing for a couple of years,
They did,
went down that path a little bit, but they got out
They got a lot of
pushback.
pushback, though.
It was
like,
just
come on
such
now.
a shock value moment when the whole Kaepernick and all that stuff popped out. As a brand that represents so many black people, it's hard to, as Roger Goodell, you're like, what the fuck
what do I do?
here?
Right.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, do I ignore it or do I acknowledge it?
Right.
Because I'll get in trouble for ignoring it.
Right.
I'll get in trouble for acknowledging it. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a tough situation, but definitely they got through that. Colin Kaepernick's been out the damn league for how long, and every season there, you see the Facebook, Instagram posts like Kaepernick's training.
Yeah,
still got the arm.
I know.
It's like, dude,
I don't
just
know.
give it a fucking rest.
I don't know. He got benched before all this happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's been my argument.
Well
if that was Mahomes that was kneeling, he'd still be in the league.
Yeah.
He's talented enough.
Right. Yeah.
The guy got benched before all this went down, and so it's more about him not being the caliber enough to.
Yep.
Yeah.
To
Well,
like,
the
come on,
defense has
man.
figured him out after a couple of years.
And that happens to run. That happened to Cam Newton. It happens to everybody.
Happens, right.
The only people that get away from it, Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick. Those are the people that are just too good. They get beyond Randall Cunningham.
Right.
There's certain guys you just can't stop.
Nope.
But most of them, the linebackers can play the angles, be in the position, and then that's over. Now you got to make a decision.
Yeah.
Because it's such a decision-based position, and it has to be fast. I think when Brady won the Super Bowl that year, they did a stat where the analytics were like he gets rid of the ball in like 2-point-something seconds on average, which is insanity to think about it. So the running around just kind of buys you time, really, if you don't have that capability, and that gets exposed.
Yeah.
And you are a Tom Brady fan, so we'll move into
nice
a
transition.
That.
I couldn't wait to get him in there.
Growing up, when I was so I have a friend that's like a Raiders fan, and one of my other buddies, we're all close. He's a Colts fan, and I say to him, I'm like, dude, I was a Patriots fan at one point in my time. One point in time when I was like fucking 12.
Because they're winning. Yeah, they were the winning team at the time. Like the Chiefs are getting a lot of nationwide fans.
So I watched the Brady. I got his rookie card here in the room, and had it since I was a kid.
Did you buy
young.
it in a pack in a store?
I think Nana and I actually went and bought it at this sports card collectible store.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
but
nice.
It was bought it, and this was a long time ago. I don't even remember what. This is rookie card. It was probably around that time.
2000.
Yeah. It was probably around that time. Mm-hmm. And I had the Tom Brady jersey back then. I had the Patriots bed sheets and all that shit. And my parents would make me go to bed early on a school night, and Monday Night Football, I'd sneak over, turn my radio on, and just act like I'm sleeping and listen to the Patriots game.
Yeah.
So I get it. Tom Brady, but when you talk about Brady, right now it's Brady and Mahomes. And if he wins this Super Bowl, like, does that what's that discussion like at that point? If he if he comes out
one step closer for me.
Yeah.
He's close, but I think he's got there was a guy I think 5's a good number to win, to be in the debate, kind of like the LeBron Jordan thing, where it's just a matter of personal preference. Because 7's going to be so hard to match. So many things have to align with the organization you're with. Then go to another one's the same way. So that's hard to do, but.
And who knows if Andy Reid's going to stick around?
He won't. That's the thing. He literally won't. There won't be enough time. And is he going to be in the same kind of condition Brady was? Because Brady was crazy about that. Playing at 45 years old? That's insanity. Nobody does that. He's the first one. So
Mahomes is on his sixth. This is his sixth season.
Eighth season.
Yeah,
no, that's incredible.
He's getting up there.
Well, so he didn't start. He didn't start.
Starter for 7. Is this 7?
Yeah, he didn't start for a year and a half, right?
So if he plays 12 seasons,
right,
but he wins 5,
which would be crazy.
But does he? Because Brady played 20. What did he play? 20.
20. Yeah. And played.
What's the discussion like at that point? Is that
then you have to take like Kurt Warner, the time you had into account. You have to take that into account. If you just win every damn year.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when New England, even when they didn't go to the Super Bowl because they didn't go every year.
Yeah, there's a time period.
Yeah,
where they didn't touch it.
Yeah, they would lose playoff games. So
yeah. Yeah, I think if I don't see Mahomes playing that long. 20 seasons. That's a lot.
It's a lot of football.
And but one thing that I think that popped up recently that I think is going to help Mahomes versus Brady is having John Harbaugh and Justin Herbert in the same division against you. If they can put a good team together and you can beat them consistently, that just adds to it. So I don't think Brady ever had to play against
in his division. That's the thing.
His division wasn't very good.
It was always pretty bad.
Neither has Mahomes,
very fast.
Neither has Mahomes, though.
And the only team that gave him fits was the Dolphins. They would beat them inexplicably. Yeah. That was their nemesis every year. They'd beat him, and but he never had to play against another Pro Bowl quarterback consistently. Yeah.
I mean, not even in the division though. You got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Herbert. I mean, the AFC's got some really good quarterbacks. And the Chiefs have had to beat those quarterbacks this whole time, right?
Right.
I mean, we just went on the road, beat 2 of them on the road.
Yeah.
I don't remember Tom Brady having to go through that kind of.
They'd always have a first-round bye, usually.
Yep.
And so he'd only have to play a couple games before he made it.
Yep.
The teams he would beat in the Super Bowl would be obviously really good. Like he shut down that Rams team, the first one that he had, which was big because they were lights out.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner, Dunn, they were talking, and then
Is that the only 2 he lost was against the Giants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spags had his number.
Manning and Spags.
Yeah. That's
so you're a huge fan of Brady.
Yes.
Not necessarily a Chiefs fan.
Exactly.
What moment did you become that Brady fan?
Well, the moment I became that was I moved to Boston when I was 22, 1998, August. And I was just kind of young and finding my way and, just went to visit, knew some people like, hey, you want to move out here? Yeah, let's do it. So I went out there with the suitcase. Like, I'll do it. I'll be fine. And I always have been. I'll find a job. And I always did. And then so I've always kind of had that kind of fighting spirit, like I'll be okay. I'll be able to handle this.
Yeah.
And so I got to see basically the Patriots and Bill Belichick make a decision that the Chiefs at the moment during all those teams, that's the most frustrating part. The Chiefs would have the great teams, and then when playoff time came, they would fold under pressure. They'd overthink it.
Yeah.
And so basically the Patriots made a decision back in 2000, where Drew Bledsoe was their starter.
Yeah.
And he was a legit Hall of Fame quarterback. And he was sort of in his prime, or at least at the beginning of the decline of his prime. And he got hurt. Brady came in, ran the table, and decision time, playoff time. Do you clam up and say, do I go with what has always worked, or do I try something new and step out of my comfort zone? Belichick in New England stepped out of their comfort zone, and I was sold. I'm like, that's what you do. That's how you do it. And the Chiefs didn't used to do that. Yeah. As good as they were conservative. They would get nervous. They wouldn't even make it draft picks like Mahomes. They would have traded that away for a sensible, hey, let's trade away our first round pick for a more sensible, we'll get several fourth rounders that'll be good, solid players. And that's what they would do.
Yeah.
And so for them to even take Mahomes is like, oh, wow, look at you. You're being normal winners. And then so anyway, so basically the Patriots made that decision. Brady came in. The first playoff game came against Pittsburgh, and Brady got hurt. So Bledsoe comes back in, wins that game, the first playoff game. And Belichick, so here's 2 times he got a chance, like, okay, my guy that I, was loyal, the loyalty card, could have stayed with him. He even came in when Brady got hurt during that first playoff game. Second playoff game comes, going back to Brady. Yeah. And the rest is history. They won the Super Bowl against the Rams.
I didn't even remember the playoff.
That's and see, that's kind of living there, just living in every moment. That
and Schottenheimer would have went back to Gerback, which he did.
Especially two chances.
Right,
two chances. Okay.
Times.
Now this time, I'm being warned here. The guys are telling me I need to go back to my ways. No, they're like, no, we've made up our mind. We want to go in a new direction with somebody that we believe in, and somebody that nobody believed in because of his draft, kind of like Brock Purdy, 7th round. Nobody knew what Belichick knew, that the guy was willing. Because if you watch Brady, he's not overwhelming physical force. He had an arm and could utilize it at times, but more often than not, he just didn't make mistakes. And that's why very disciplined. And that's what I noticed. Those are things I've always been appealed to me. I remember watching the Bulls during their runs, and I was kind of sitting there with my dad, and I was like, everything's kind of just hit me. And I'm like, the Bulls just don't make mistakes. They don't, even though they had the most electrifying player on the planet, they just would grind. You would have 3 turnovers, and then they're up 8 points in the 4th quarter, and it's over. Because the teams they were playing were really good. The Bulls were playing really good teams, and those teams would be right in it. And then the Bulls would just make you make mistakes. And that's what I've always appreciated about people, because it shows a level of just discipline and inner discipline. It's you against yourself kind of thing. That's why I've always appealed, like physical activity has always appealed to me, because it's like you against yourself. You're the only one who can hold yourself accountable. Do you want to come in and be settled for being able to do this much, or do you want to take it one step further? And then nobody's there to challenge you but yourself. And so I've always appealed. That's always, I don't know, if somebody got to me when I was young. Some coach, some uncle, some dad, something got to me and kind of triggered that. And so those kind of guys. So that's where growing up with the languishing Chiefs, you'll see where I'm going. I've always learned, I think back in 1985 when football started to click for me, like I was like 10 years old, and I'm like, oh, this is what it's all about. I've always liked players anyway. I think Lawrence Taylor. So then I really latched on to Lawrence Taylor. Greatness. I think that was the first book I read. First book, right? 6th grade, his autobiography. Really? It was about that thick. And I'd never forget, that was the first book I read. And back then they didn't censor because it's a little graphic for a 12-year-old. Oh, yeah, he's talking to Lawrence Taylor. He's talking about women mailing panties to him. And, and I'm reading this in 6th grade. And he's talking about.
He was a wild man.
He was, man. And so then that kind of triggered that, like, oh, that's possible. So, yeah. So I always kind of like players. So after Lawrence Taylor, it was like Barry Sanders and Reggie White. And then Brett Favre. So it was just kind of natural. So then Tom Brady came along at Brett Favre. So then I'm like, so I've always just kind of appreciated players. And so now that Brady's retired, because I used to live and die with sports. Like, I'm able to retire and just kind of, I told people when Brady retires, I retire. And I'm able to not have a favorite and just kind of watch it. Yeah,
that's cool. It's sports, NFL, NBA, even MLB. In America, it does so much for society, for the kids that look up to those stars. And then in turn they gain something from that that aspect of being a winner.
Understanding what it takes to win.
In Tom Brady's situation, all the kids that were watching him, like when it was his time to step up, that's exactly what he did.
That's what he did. And people weren't afraid to lose friends for their convictions. Can you imagine how many friends, personnel within the Patriots organization weren't afraid to lose, and they lost?
Right. And Drew Bledsoe, he's a good player.
He's a good player.
Like you said, he was
Hall of Fame numbers. Hall of Fame at the time.
Well,
top 5 in yards.
And had an arm. I mean, that guy could throw the ball.
Yes, he was really good. I think they went to the Super Bowl and might have lost when he was there too. I want to say 96 because they had like Curtis Martin, Ben Coates. That was a good team.
So he chose the winning path. He chose somebody he thought was going to help him win the Super Bowl.
That everybody else said no way.
Not go back to the old quarterback he didn't feel like was going to get him there, right? Which is what Schottenheimer did.
Right.
Gannon was always bitter about that.
I would be too. And didn't Gannon go with the Raiders the next year and go to the Super Bowl?
Went to the Super Bowl.
But lost to the Patriots. I blame the city at large for that.
And then Gannon lost against the Patriots, right?
Buccaneers.
Was it the Bucks?
Bucks with Brad Johnson and those guys. And that good defense with Warren Sapp and Derek Thomas. And
Dude, what year was that? Because that was one of
98?
the first. That was one of the first Super Bowls I ever watched.
Okay, that might have been around 90. Because I remember being in New England, and that was my Super Bowl with no beer. And the last Super Bowl with no beer. That never happened again. Because there was the Blue Laws were up there, and I didn't know. And it's not like here you could just jump to Missouri. I would have had to drive to New Hampshire, which is like a 45-minute drive. But then that was kind of like, do I miss it for?
Right.
Okay. So that's how I'll always remember that so distinctly. Yeah.
So how long were you in Boston?
11 years.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I moved back when my dad came down with cancer to take care of him. So that's really the reason. I would have stayed there. I was having a great time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, doing well.
It's a very historical
It
city.
is. If you like history, you'll love it.
Old city.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll come out back, and this was back then. I'm not even going that direction, but back then, when it was you could be proud of yourself for knowing about politics and current events and being engaged with all that. That's when I was really engaged. I was all about it and the history of it. And back then, living up there, that was Politics Central.
Okay.
So it really fed into that for me. It all clicked. You know, with the recent events, you know, I think when it just became a catastrophe, I just kind of checked out a little bit, you know, just let that, because it got away from where it was and what it was intended to do, which was be, you know, a government and steward of the people's resources and responsibly do it and make decisions for the greater good, and no matter how you felt and everything.
That's changed substantially.
So I've honestly kind of checked out because of that. Because I've just been disappointed. Yeah. Because I really held myself. I was proud of it for just being young, 22, 23, and knowing all that. And my peers didn't. So the conversations I had were with older people that, you know, they'd be all like, "Oh wow, I can't believe you," you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah, it is.
Sure.
You went to Boston here recently, didn't you?
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
I went last year for a little bit. It was pretty cool. All the history is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uncle Jamar, Aunt Candace's husband, he's from Boston.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's a big Celtics guy.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I was there
when to a game?
I went to a lot of games, mainly the Celtics and Red Sox. Yeah, those were cool going to Fenway. Cool. And see, when I was there, it's kind of in transition. I think they literally just tore down the Boston Garden. They were literally like deconstructing it when I got there. Okay. And so they built they went through so many name changes when I was there. Fleet Center, which was a local bank. Okay. And then TD Bank North, which is a Canadian bank. So bought the name rights. But yeah, just where those places are in the city, the parts of town, there's a whole culture and identity around where that is. So Fenway was cool because they started to charge you to walk, and they started to charge admission to get in. But it used to be where you just go in around the park. It's like this big triangle. They have like restaurants, clubs, just so much. It's teeming with activity before Red Sox games and during games and after games. It's just an atmosphere. And so it's good the Royals are trying to do that. Right. But when I was there, they transitioned to where like you had to start paying to do that. Before that, you could just come if you weren't even doing anything that day and you're young and you're 24 and you just want to go talk to friends, look at, you know, the fairer, the way the old folks used to, the fairer sex, you know, but I'm just saying, just go be around it. You know, you could just go there, hang out at bars, the game's going on, people were out there just walking around, but then they're like, wait a minute, we can make money here. And so that took over. So you had to pay to get access to even get around the park, even if you weren't going to the game. Okay. So it'd be like literally if this street like Truman Road, Agnes, and then the street behind you, it just was a whole thing to be around it. Very cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. I think that's definitely, you know, a lot of people are fighting it, and, you know, I'm one of those people that's like, dude, we need a better team before we make it a hassle for everybody in the city to move around
the Red Sox were sold out every game for the past 50 years. So it's kind of like a football team. Every game sold out. There are no seats. There is no GA. I think I remember I asked that when I first got there. I got laughed at for a couple of days, like, But they're like, we don't have GA. What do you mean GA? Oh, okay. So they have like a section, but you still have to.
Yeah, I think Kansas City's got to bring the fans to a point of appreciation, like give them a reason to be like, yeah, go ahead, throw a stadium down here and make us deal with traffic for the next few years.
Yeah.
You know, imagine the traffic.
If they'd have done that after they won the last World Series,
everybody would have been on board. That's when they'd be like, yeah, let's do it. And you're right about that, because strategically where their stadium's located in Boston, it doesn't affect the financial district like it would if Kansas City's was down there for people that have nothing to do with the game. It's downtown, but their downtown is so big that it's over near like Northeastern University, and it's just
the city can still function.
It can still, you just don't go over there, and you're fine. Yeah. And they have a subway to get you there too, so you don't need to drive. So think about how many people don't drive.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we're Casey Mo's putting in the expanding the streetcar thing.
Yeah.
Do you know how far that?
I
think it's going to.
It's just going to keep going further
maybe
south,
it's going
right?
to the plaza, and then is it going any further north? Or
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's going to North Kansas City or something.
For what I've seen, because I live near there, it's going a little bit past the plaza on Main. It's just going to keep going down.
Yeah.
Is that Broadway or Main? I think it's Main. I think so.
Sure.
Yeah, one of those two. But it just they're almost wrapping up. They're kind of getting it cleaned up.
Yeah, and that connects the whole city. You're able to get from the plaza to here for. I mean, you don't have to pay to get on the streetcar.
Put Royal Stadium in there somewhere,
and hopefully they end up putting it right here.
Yeah, close
because they bought that property down here, right?
Yeah, that's what we're hearing.
Where at?
It's like around Cherry, 14th and Cherry. Kind of.
Who bought it? The Royals?
Or 6-7.
Okay.
Yeah, the Royals.
That'd be good because it's away from everything, like we said, but it's still in the city. Yeah. And then people will build around it.
Yeah.
And it'll develop this area.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I went to church in this area. I'm very familiar with this area.
Okay. Really?
And my grandma lived off 43rd and Benton.
Okay.
So I'd come this way as a kid, like my whole life, coming down before 670 was built. I remember those days,
Oh, wow.
And coming, because we'd have to get to Benton Boulevard.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'd come down Truman, go to Benton, go up to 43rd. Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the Chiefs can come out of this with the win.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Royals can figure their shit out.
Right.
And we're looking forward to a great weekend of football and a good Super Bowl here at KC Speakeasy.
Right.
So Ian, thanks for hopping on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. You guys got to be. This is what my coworkers go through. Okay, so and I just ignore it. I just keep going. So
we'll have to do this again and again. It'd be cool to start up a free reign sports podcast.
Yes.
Just strictly sports.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be badass.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I can go down that rabbit hole forever.
Yeah.
Forever, man. I got
Great time. Everybody live your free reign. We'll be back again soon.